Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine finding a simple 2004 1-cent coin in your change jar, the kind that most people ignore. But what if I told you that some of these pennies have been sold or valued at up to $500 due to rare and dramatic minting errors and specific features that set them apart in the world of numismatics, making them highly desirable for collectors and investors alike? And in this video we're diving deep into the fascinating details behind the 2004 penny that has taken the numismatic world by storm, a coin whose ordinary appearance hides an extraordinary story of errors, die varieties, planchet issues, and historical context that has turned a 1-cent face value into a treasure chest of possibilities for those who know what to look for. So buckle in as we unravel the mystery, the minting process, and the rare characteristics that make the 2004 penny potentially worth hundreds of dollars. And we're talking about coins that may still be sitting quietly in your pocket, your coin jar, or inside that old change drawer that hasn't been touched in years, because the United States Mint, despite its precision and advanced technology, sometimes produces coins that slip through the cracks of quality control. And when this happens, collectors around the world take notice, and one such coin from 2004 has become legendary not because of what it was supposed to be, but because of what went wrong. And among the most sought-after errors in the 2004 Lincoln cent are double dies, where the coin shows visible signs of doubling on the obverse or reverse, especially on the date, motto, or Lincoln's profile, giving a ghostly shadow-like effect that's clearly visible under magnification or sometimes even with the naked eye. And these double die errors are caused during the hubbing process when the design on the die is misaligned or impressed more than once slightly off register, which leads to an image being duplicated in a strikingly eerie way that fascinates collectors and drastically raises a coin's value. And in the 2004 penny's case, some of the most stunning double die varieties have been found with doubling in the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," making them extremely collectible, especially in high-grade uncirculated condition or with strong, clear doubling. But that's not all. Other errors like off-center strikes have also been discovered where the coin was not properly aligned with the dies during the minting process, resulting in part of the design missing or a crescent-shaped blank space on the coin. And depending on how off-center the strike is and whether the date remains visible, such coins can be valued from $50 to several $100s, with the sweet spot being between 40% to 60% off-center strikes with clear dates. And then there are broad-struck errors where the collar die fails, allowing the coin to expand slightly outward during striking, producing a wider and sometimes thinner coin with misaligned or distorted rims that clearly stand out when compared side by side with a standard issue. And let's not forget about clipped planchets either, an error that occurs when a blanking die overlaps a previously punched area on the metal strip, cutting a crescent-shaped portion from the planchet before striking. And while many clipped planchets are minor and only slightly increase value, well-defined curved clips or dramatic multiple clips can boost the price of a 2004 penny well into the hundreds, particularly if it's paired with a clean strike and strong details. But one of the most exciting possibilities with the 2004 penny lies in transitional errors or wrong planchet strikes, where a coin was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or composition. And although this is more common in transition years like 1982 or 1983, there have been reported cases where a Lincoln cent was struck on a dime planchet or foreign coin planchet due to leftover blanks in the minting machinery, leading to a coin that looks and feels completely off, from its weight and diameter to the appearance of missing parts of the design. And any 2004 penny with a weight significantly different than 2.5 grams, the standard for zinc-cord cents, should be carefully examined for the possibility of being a wrong planchet error, as these have fetched hundreds and even thousands of dollars at auction depending on rarity and demand. And we also can't ignore die cracks, die chips, and cut errors, which are small but visually obvious breaks in the die that transfer raised lumps or missing portions onto the coin surface, often found near Lincoln's head, beard, or the date. And although these can be minor, some dramatic cuts or cracks, especially those that form over the date or letters, are incredibly desirable to error coin enthusiasts and can add substantial value to an otherwise common cent. But the 2004 penny has another layer of intrigue due to the broader historical and production context, because during this time, the U.S. Mint was operating multiple facilities with slightly different equipment, protocols, and die longevity standards, meaning Philadelphia and Denver minted coins, with and without the D mint mark, might show very different error patterns or degrees of wear, and it's also important to recognize that the 2004 D penny, while more common in circulation, has produced some of the most fascinating errors in this series, including well-documented examples of die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring part of the reverse image onto the obverse and vice versa, which results in ghost-like impressions of design elements in unexpected places and are highly collectible, especially when the clash is strong and the details are visible without magnification. And while mint state or uncirculated examples of these error coins always demand a premium, even well-worn circulated versions of dramatic 2004 penny errors have been known to sell for over $100 depending on severity and rarity, and with the popularity of online marketplaces like eBay and dedicated numismatic auction houses, visibility and demand for rare error coins have surged, allowing even novice collectors to discover and sell their finds for impressive sums. And we must also remember that coin grading plays a crucial role in determining value, with higher graded coins, especially those certified by PCGS or NGC, often commanding 2 or 3 times the price of uncertified examples simply because of the added trust and transparency in the coin's condition, authenticity, and error designation. So if you ever stumble upon a 2004 penny that looks off, whether it's a strange thickness, odd weight, missing letters, shifted design, or any other anomaly, it's worth examining it carefully, comparing it with known error varieties online, and if it looks promising, sending it off for grading or at least consulting with a reputable numismatist. And even beyond the known errors, new varieties are being discovered all the time, thanks to the growing community of collectors, YouTubers, and error coin specialists who share photos, information, and auction results that help others identify and properly value their finds. And this community-driven excitement is one of the reasons the 2004 penny has become a viral sensation in the coin collecting world, with stories and videos surfacing about jaw-dropping finds, garage sales turning into gold mines, and ordinary people turning 1-cent pieces into $100 paydays. And even if you're not a seasoned coin collector, learning to identify these rare features can be both fun and potentially lucrative, because with the right knowledge and a bit of patience, anyone can turn pocket change into profit. And what makes this even more exciting is that the 2004 penny is still modern enough to be commonly encountered, meaning it could be sitting in your wallet, change tray, or even in a cash register at your local store. So keep your eyes peeled, because a small mistake at the mint can mean a big payday for you, and the more you know about what to look for, the better your chances of finding one of these incredible treasures. And whether it's a double die, off-center strike, clipped planchet, broad strike, die clash, cud, wrong planchet, or transitional error, the potential is there in every coin you examine, every penny you flip over and inspect under light or magnification. And it's this treasure hunt aspect of coin collecting that keeps the hobby alive and thriving in the digital age, turning everyday people into detectives of minting history. So if this video inspired you to check your change and look at your 2004 pennies more closely, then give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories of rare coins and hidden treasures, and don't forget to tap the bell so you don't miss out on the next big discovery that could be hiding in plain sight. Next, 1975 D 1-cent USA coin. Imagine stumbling upon a simple 1975 D 1-cent coin in your pocket change, the kind you would never think twice about. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth as much as $340 or more, due to a rare minting error or unique feature that turns a regular coin into a sought-after treasure? And in today's video, we're diving deep into the world of the 1975 D penny, exploring why this particular coin has become one of the most interesting and valuable pieces in modern numismatics, where a combination of minting flaws, historical context, and collector demand has pushed the value of some of these pennies into the hundreds of dollars, and how a coin that was once worth just 1 cent has become a jackpot for some lucky individuals who have discovered the right type of error, turning what would be considered everyday pocket change into something far more valuable and significant. And the story behind these 1975 D pennies is more than just about errors. it's about a time when the U.S. Mint was dealing with an increased demand for currency due to the economic climate of the 1970s, and with that demand came mistakes, misprints, and anomalies that have fascinated collectors for decades, making the 1975 D penny an important part of the history of American coinage. And perhaps the most well-known error related to this penny is the infamous double die error, where the coin shows a clear, visible doubling of the design. Usually in the date or the inscription, Liberty, or, In God We Trust, and these double die errors happen when the die used to stamp the coin is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to appear twice on the coin, creating a clear and obvious ghosting effect that collectors eagerly seek, and this mistake, which was made during the creation of the 1975 D pennies, has become a major reason for the high value of certain 1975 D cents, with some rare examples selling for hundreds of dollars at auctions. But the value of these double die coins doesn't just depend on the visibility of the doubling, it also depends on the coin's condition, because the more well-preserved and detailed the coin is, the higher the demand and price will be, and this is where the grade of the coin plays a critical role. And just like with all collectible coins, finding a 1975 D penny with clear, noticeable doubling in great condition is like finding a hidden gem, and if you're fortunate enough to come across one, you could be holding onto a rare treasure worth far more than its face value. And there's also the possibility of other types of minting errors that can affect the 1975 D penny, such as the off-center strike, where the coin was not aligned correctly with the dies during the minting process, leading to a coin that has a distorted or incomplete design. And these off-center strikes are always fascinating for collectors, especially when they're dramatic and leave part of the coin completely blank, and while off-center errors are more common, they can still command a hefty price depending on how much of the design is missing, and coins with a significant portion of the design missing or with clear misalignment can fetch anywhere from $50 to $340, and this is why it's essential to carefully examine each penny for such errors. Because even a small off-center mistake can mean big money, and don't forget about other types of mistakes like die cracks, where the die used to strike the coin develops a crack and transfers that crack onto the coin itself, creating raised lines or broken pieces in the design. And while die cracks might not seem as exciting as double die errors, they can still be valuable, especially if the crack is large or unique. And for the 1975 D penny, some examples have sold for hundreds of dollars just because of an interesting die crack, making them highly desirable to error coin collectors who appreciate the history behind each imperfection. And another possibility with the 1975 D penny is the presence of die chips, where a small piece of the die breaks off and leaves a raised lump or bump on the coin's surface. And die chips can appear in random spots on the coin, but when they occur in prominent places, such as over Lincoln's face or on the date, they can make the coin incredibly valuable. And even small die chips can make a coin stand out and become a collector's item, increasing its worth significantly. And then there's the broad struck error, which occurs when the coin is struck without a collar die, causing the planchet to spread out more than usual and resulting in a coin that is slightly larger than it should be with an off-center design and often misshaped edges. And broad-struck coins are highly sought after, and a well-defined 1975 D broad-struck penny in good condition could be worth a significant amount, especially to collectors looking for unique and rare coins that break from the normal pattern of minting. And as if that weren't enough, we also have to talk about coins struck on wrong planchets, and these occur when a coin is mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime or a nickel. And while this type of error is much rarer than other types, it is highly desirable to collectors when it happens. And if a 1975 D penny were accidentally struck on a wrong planchet, say a dime planchet, it could be worth thousands of dollars, depending on its rarity, condition, and authenticity. And while such errors are not common, they're still possible, and finding one of these would be a numismatic dream come true for anyone lucky enough to get their hands on it. And let's not forget the significance of the 1975 D penny in the context of American coinage during that time. Because 1975 was the year the U.S. Mint transitioned from producing large cents to smaller, lighter coins, and this period in history was filled with changes in design, technology, and even economic pressures, leading to a mix of old and new coins circulating together. and this mix of transitionary coinage from different periods makes the 1975 D penny a fascinating and important piece in the story of U.S. currency, and collectors understand the value of these coins not just for their errors, but for their role in this critical era of change. And so if you're ever lucky enough to find a 1975 D penny with any of these rare errors or unique features, you could be sitting on a hidden treasure that could fetch anywhere from a few dollars to several $100s, depending on the type of error and the condition of the coin. And it's important to remember that the market for these error coins can fluctuate based on demand, but the more you know about what to look for, the more likely you are to find a coin that could turn into a substantial payoff. And whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner, it's worth taking the time to check your coins, especially the ones from years like 1975, because as we've seen, even a single penny can hold the potential for a big payday. And so, if this video inspired you to take a closer look at your 1975 D pennies, and you've enjoyed learning about these rare and valuable coins, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible discoveries, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next exciting episode of hidden treasure hunting in your everyday pocket change. Next, 1995 D 1 cent USA coin that takes you deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures found in everyday pocket change, where even a single penny can turn out to be worth hundreds of dollars. And today we're diving into the extraordinary story of the 1995 D 1 cent coin, a Lincoln penny minted in Denver that, under specific conditions and due to unique minting errors and production anomalies, has reached an astonishing value of $387, a dramatic leap from its humble 1 cent face value and a testament to how even the most seemingly ordinary objects can harbor incredible worth when rarity, condition, and historical significance come into play. And this 1995 D penny isn't just valuable because of its age or design, but because of the fascinating errors and mistakes that occurred during its production at the United States Mint, which have turned some examples into prized collectibles among numismatists. And the story begins with understanding the critical nature of minting errors and how they can dramatically increase a coin's value, especially when they are rare, dramatic, and easily visible. And among the most sought-after issues with the 1995 D penny are doubled die obverse, which result from a misalignment during the die creation process, where the hub impresses the design onto the die more than once but not perfectly aligned, causing the final coin to show clear doubling of the features such as the date, the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." And while the more famous 1995 double die is from the Philadelphia Mint, Denver minted versions with similar characteristics, especially those with strong doubling, are incredibly rare and valuable, especially when preserved in higher grades with minimal wear, and collectors have been known to pay hundreds of dollars for such examples, particularly when certified by professional grading services that authenticate the doubling and grade the coin's overall condition. And the 1995 D penny also features other types of errors that contribute to its value, such as off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank is not properly seated in the coining chamber, leading to a misaligned strike that leaves a portion of the coin's design missing or heavily shifted. And these off-center errors are especially valuable when they are dramatic, generally between 40% and 60% off-center, while still retaining the full date and mint mark, as this combination of error visibility and identifiable features makes them more desirable and easier to authenticate. And high-grade examples of these off-center 1995 D pennies can fetch well over $200 depending on their visual appeal and scarcity. But that's just one of the many intriguing possibilities, because another valuable error type seen on some 1995 D pennies includes broad strikes, which occur when the collar die, responsible for containing the metal flow during the striking process, is missing or malfunctioning, allowing the metal to spread out beyond its usual boundaries and producing a coin that appears wider and flatter than normal. And these broad-struck errors are particularly noticeable because of the distorted rims and extended flange size, and collectors highly value them, especially in mint state condition where the coin's details remain sharp despite the broader size. And in addition to these striking errors, there are planchet errors that affect the 1995 D penny, such as clipped planchets, which happen when the metal strip used to punch out blanks for coins overlaps a previously punched area, resulting in a blank that's missing a portion of its edge. And these clipped planchet errors are obvious even to the untrained eye, as the coin will appear to have a crescent-shaped bite taken out of it, and depending on the severity and location of the clip, these coins can sell for anywhere between $50 and $387 or more if other error types or dramatic visual appeal are present, and sometimes, even more spectacular are the 1995 pennies struck on the wrong planchet altogether, which happens when a blank intended for a different coin, such as a dime or foreign coin, ends up in the Lincoln cent press and receives the Lincoln cent design on a planchet of the wrong metal or size, resulting in a coin that weighs differently, may not be the right diameter, and may have parts of the design missing due to the size discrepancy. And such wrong planchet errors are among the most valuable and exciting discoveries, sometimes fetching several hundred to thousands of dollars depending on the specific error and market demand. And the 1995 penny is also known for exhibiting die cracks and die chips, which are the result of a worn or damaged die that transfers raised metal ridges or blobs to the finished coin, usually found in areas like Lincoln's head, beard, or the date, and while minor cracks may only add a small premium, dramatic or unusually placed cracks or cuds, large raised areas formed when a portion of the die breaks off, can drastically enhance a coin's desirability, especially when they give the coin a unique or visually interesting appearance. And another critical aspect of a coin's value is its condition or grade, with uncirculated and mint state coins, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, fetching significantly more than well-worn circulated examples. And the reason is simple: collectors pay a premium for coins with strong eye appeal, full luster, and minimal blemishes. And for error coins like the 1995 penny, this rule is no different. An error in high grade is always more valuable than one that's heavily circulated, and this is why many collectors focus their search on coin rolls, unsearched bags, and mint sets in hopes of finding pristine examples with dramatic errors. And the rise of online marketplaces and numismatic forums has also made it easier for collectors to discover, buy, and sell these rare coins, creating a surge in demand for error pennies from all years, but particularly ones like the 1995 that come from a time when quality control was imperfect and demand for coins remained high. And the U.S. Mint's history during the mid-1990s also plays a part in the intrigue of the 1995 penny, as the Denver Mint was producing billions of coins annually. And such high-volume production increases the chances for minting errors to occur, especially if worn dies, damaged presses, or fatigued quality control systems are involved. And each of these elements, whether it's the historical context, the striking process, or the specific type of mint error, influences a coin's desirability and final value. And collectors across the country continue to hunt for 1995 pennies that show signs of error, hoping to find that one rare variety that could be worth hundreds of dollars. And as interest in numismatics grows, particularly through YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where collectors showcase their finds and educate others, awareness of rare coins like the 1995 penny has exploded, causing spikes in demand and driving up prices for certified error examples. And what makes this journey so exciting is that anyone can participate. You don't need to be an expert, a dealer, or a professional. You just need to be curious, pay attention to details, and take the time to check your change, examine coin rolls, and use a magnifier to inspect coins for anomalies, because it's entirely possible that one of these valuable 1995 pennies is hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by someone like you. And whether it's a dramatic off-center strike, a clear double die, a coin struck on the wrong planchet, or a bold die chip or cud, the 1995 penny offers a treasure trove of possibilities that continues to excite collectors and investors alike. And stories continue to emerge of individuals who found rare coins in pocket change, garage sales, estate boxes, or coin machines and turned them into hundreds or even thousands of dollars with just a little patience and knowledge. And in an era where small wins can make a big difference, the 1995 penny stands as a perfect example of how something overlooked and undervalued can turn out to be surprisingly lucrative. And the next time you come across a penny with a mint mark and a 1995 date, don't toss it aside, examine it closely, weigh it if you can, and compare its features to verified error examples online, because if it has the right characteristics, you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than 1 cent, and possibly even as much as $387 or more. so if you found this exploration of the 1995 D penny fascinating and it sparked your curiosity to dig through your own collection or change jar, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into rare and valuable coins, and tap the notification bell so you never miss the next big opportunity to discover a coin that could change everything. Next, 1982 1-cent USA coin that dives deep into the hidden treasures of numismatics, where even the most seemingly ordinary coins can hold unexpected value, and today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating and sought-after pennies in recent history, the 1982 1-cent coin, a penny whose value has skyrocketed to $404 or more, thanks to several rare and unusual minting errors that make it one of the most prized and collectible coins of its time, and you might be surprised to learn that this small, unassuming coin could be worth far more than its face value due to a variety of factors that have come together to make the 1982 penny a true gem in the world of error coins, and the story of this coin starts with an era of transition at the United States Mint, because 1982 was a pivotal year for the production of Lincoln cents, as it marked the switch from a predominantly copper composition to a zinc core with a copper coating, and this change wasn't without its challenges. And it's these very challenges, combined with specific minting errors, that have contributed to the high value of some 1982 pennies. So what makes the 1982 penny so unique, and why has it become so valuable, especially in the world of error coins? Well, to understand this, we need to dive into the minting process and the kinds of mistakes that occurred during the transition year. And it all starts with the fact that the 1982 penny was minted in two different compositions, the copper-based ones, which were produced at the beginning of the year, and the zinc-based ones, which came later, and while this change might seem like a simple shift in materials, it introduced a host of potential errors that could make certain 1982 pennies stand out among the rest, and the most well-known error that collectors search for in the 1982 penny is the famous transition error, which occurred when a penny was accidentally struck using a zinc planchet, but with the copper composition die, resulting in a coin that has the visual appearance of a copper penny but the weight of a zinc one. And these error coins, sometimes called the zinc-copper mix-up, are incredibly rare and can be worth upwards of $404 depending on their condition and the specific characteristics of the error, and the reason these coins are so valuable is due to the striking difference between the copper and zinc compositions, with the copper penny weighing 3.11 grams and the zinc penny weighing only 2.5 grams, and the mix-up results in a coin that's not only visually different but also weighs significantly less than it should, and because of this discrepancy in both appearance and weight, these coins are highly prized by collectors who are looking for rare and unusual examples, and it's the rarity of these transition error coins that has driven up their value, with some of them even fetching prices in the hundreds of dollars when they are found in pristine condition, and the condition of the coin plays a big role in determining its value. And while many 1982 transition error pennies may show wear or damage, those in near mint or mint condition can see their values rise significantly, and if you happen to find a 1982 penny that shows the signs of this copper-zinc transition error, it's worth checking its weight and examining the overall condition, because even small differences in weight can indicate whether a coin is a valuable error or just a standard, everyday penny, but the transition error is far from the only mistake that occurred in the minting of the 1982 pennies, and another valuable error that has been discovered is the famous double die error, where the design was stamped onto the die more than once, causing the image to appear doubled on the coin. And while double die errors are not uncommon in coinage, they can be particularly striking when they occur on high-demand coins like the 1982 penny. And the most valuable double die errors on the 1982 penny are typically found on the obverse, especially in the date, 1982, and the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust, and collectors will pay a premium for these double die varieties, especially when the doubling is strong and clearly visible to the naked eye, and these coins are also highly sought after in higher grades, as the clearer the doubling and the better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it becomes. And just like with the transition error, the double die errors on the 1982 penny can add hundreds of dollars to the value of the coin, and finding one in good condition could be a game changer for any collector. And then, there are the off-center strikes, another type of error that can be found on the 1982 penny, where the planchet is not properly aligned with the dies, resulting in a coin that is struck off-center, leaving a portion of the coin blank or misshapen. And these off-center pennies can be incredibly striking and highly collectible, especially when the off-center strike is dramatic, and the more of the design that's missing, the higher the value of the coin can be, and off-center pennies from the 1982 year that are misaligned by 25% to 50% can be worth $50 or more, and those with a higher percentage of misalignment can easily reach $404 or beyond, making these coins highly desirable among collectors who are on the lookout for rare and dramatic errors. And similarly, the 1982 penny can also feature broad-struck errors, which occur when the collar die, which helps form the edges of the coin, fails to engage properly, allowing the planchet to expand outward during the strike, and broad-struck pennies can be found with irregularly wide rims and sometimes misshapen or uneven edges, and like the off-center strike, the more dramatic the error, the higher the value, and coins with broad-struck errors from the 1982 year can fetch hundreds of dollars, depending on their visual appeal and the extent of the error. And besides these major errors, there are also a variety of smaller errors that can contribute to the value of a 1982 penny, including die cracks, where a crack in the die transfers to the coin, causing raised lines or broken areas on the surface of the coin, and die cracks can appear in various places on the 1982 penny, from Lincoln's portrait to the edge of the coin, and while smaller die cracks may not be as valuable as the major errors, they can still add to the overall value of the coin, especially if they're located in a particularly noticeable area. And die chips, where a small piece of the die breaks off and leaves a raised bump or blob on the coin, can also be found on some 1982 pennies, and these die chips can occur anywhere on the coin, but those that appear over the date, mint mark, or key areas of the design are particularly desirable to collectors. And as with the other errors, the value of the 1982 penny increases with the size and location of the die chip, and even minor issues like off-metal errors, where a coin is struck on a planchet that wasn't intended for it, can contribute to the 1982 penny's overall value, especially if the penny is struck on a planchet from a different denomination or composition. And while this is a rarer type of error, it's still possible for a 1982 penny to have been struck on a dime planchet, leading to a slightly smaller and lighter coin. And such errors can make the coin worth much more than its original face value. And while there's no one single feature or error that makes the 1982 penny worth $404, it's the combination of these factors: the rare transition errors, the double die varieties, off-center strikes, broad-struck coins, die cracks, and die chips, that have turned the 1982 penny into a highly collectible and valuable coin. And what makes this coin particularly exciting for collectors is that these errors are relatively difficult to find, meaning that each discovery feels like unearthing a treasure, and the hunt for the perfect 1982 penny continues to captivate numismatists and casual coin collectors alike. And it's this sense of excitement, combined with the sheer value of these rare coins, that has driven up the demand for 1982 pennies with minting errors, and as a result, prices continue to rise for coins in good condition with striking or dramatic errors. And whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner just starting out, the 1982 penny offers a perfect opportunity to dive into the world of error coins and start looking for those rare, valuable examples that could be hiding in your pocket change. So the next time you find a 1982 penny in your collection or change jar, be sure to take a closer look, because with the right error, that humble penny might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. And if you found this video helpful and informative, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification so you never miss another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Because you never know when your next treasure might be waiting to be discovered. Last 2005 1-cent USA coin. Ordinary coins reveal extraordinary stories and unexpected fortunes, where even the most overlooked change in your pocket could be worth big money. And today we are going deep into the surprising and incredible details behind the 2005 1-cent coin, a penny that most people would never give a second glance, yet due to a unique combination of minting errors, rare anomalies, and collector demand, this small copper-plated zinc coin has reached a shocking value of $214. In certain cases, making it one of the most intriguing finds in recent numismatic history. And whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious about the value of that penny you tossed on your dresser, you'll want to stick around as we examine the exact errors and mistakes that can turn an ordinary 2005 penny into a prized collectible. Because the truth is, The United States Mint has produced billions of 1-cent coins in 2005, but even with all the technology and oversight in place, errors still happen, and those errors are the goldmine for coin collectors, because when a mistake slips past quality control, it creates a rarity in a sea of sameness, and rarity always drives value, especially when that error is well documented, dramatic, and in high demand among numismatists. So let's look closely at what makes certain 2005 pennies worth hundreds of times their face value. Starting with one of the most popular and exciting kinds of mistakes, the double die error, which occurs during the die creation process when the coin die receives a misaligned second impression from the hub, resulting in visible doubling of design elements like the date, the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," and although the most famous double die cents come from other years, collectors have confirmed that some 2005 D and 2005 no mint mark pennies do in fact exhibit minor but still visible double die characteristics, especially on the lettering or Lincoln's eye and jawline, and any doubling that can be confirmed and clearly seen, especially under magnification, drastically increases the coin's value, with sharp, dramatic doubling placing the coin well into the $100 to $200 plus range depending on overall condition. And speaking of condition, the grade of a coin is absolutely critical when assessing value, because a 2005 penny with a known error that is also in mint state, especially grades MS65 and up, is far more valuable than a worn or circulated example, and this is why collectors often prefer to find errors in uncirculated rolls, mint sets, or bags, because that's where the coins are most likely to be in pristine condition. And moving beyond doubling, another extremely desirable and valuable error that has been seen on 2005 cents is the off-center strike, which happens when the planchet, the blank coin, is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. And these errors can range from minor to dramatic, with the most valuable ones being about 50% off-center while still showing a complete or mostly complete date, and collectors pay high premiums for these off-center errors, especially if the coin is uncirculated and the off-center strike is bold and easily noticeable without magnification, and in some cases, dramatic off-center 2005 pennies have sold for over $150, particularly when paired with other errors or in near-perfect condition. And then there are broad-struck errors, which occur when the collar die, which keeps the coin's shape intact during striking, is not properly in place, allowing the planchet to expand outward during the strike, producing a coin that is flatter, wider, and often lacking a defined rim. And these broad-struck errors are instantly recognizable and highly collectible, with well-centered designs and clean surfaces fetching hundreds of dollars in online auctions and private sales. And what adds even more value is when the broad-struck penny is combined with another error like a die crack or struck through debris, making the piece even more unique and desirable. And clipped planchets are another fascinating type of minting error seen on 2005 pennies, where the coin blank is punched out of the metal strip too close to a previously punched hole, resulting in a coin that is missing a portion of its edge, often forming a crescent or straight clip. And clipped planchets can vary in size and severity, but well-defined and obvious clips, especially those that don't affect the visibility of the date, are considered highly valuable, and many collectors will pay over $100 for these alone, especially when found in high grade. And when these clipped coins also contain doubling or are struck off-center, they can push the value even higher. And then there's the category of wrong planchet errors, among the rarest and most exciting finds for collectors. And this happens when a coin is accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. And in 2005, while no major confirmed wrong planchet errors are as famous as those from earlier years, there have been reports and possible examples of 2005 pennies struck on dime planchets, resulting in lighter weight, smaller diameter, and partially missing design elements. And these coins are often easily identifiable when weighed, since a standard penny should weigh 2.5 grams. And anything significantly off may indicate a major planchet error, and these rare coins can sell for hundreds to even thousands, depending on the rarity and confirmation from third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And die cracks and die chips are also common error features that contribute to a coin's value. And while these might seem minor compared to the more dramatic errors, large or oddly shaped die chips, especially those that occur in notable places like Lincoln's eye, beard, or the date, can make a coin very collectible. And sometimes these raised areas look like bubbles or blobs on the coin, and when they're especially prominent or unusual, they're given nicknames by collectors and become sought-after varieties that push up value and desirability. And while these might not fetch $214 on their own, when combined with a high grade or another error, they definitely contribute to the coin's overall appeal. And similarly, coins struck through grease or other debris during the minting process can result in missing or faint design elements, such as a missing letter in Liberty or a faded part of Lincoln's profile. And these struck-through errors are more common than you might think but can be valuable when dramatic or paired with other anomalies. And again, it's the uniqueness and visual intrigue of these coins that drive demand and increase price. And let's not forget about the lesser-known but still fascinating issue of misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse dies are not properly lined up, causing one side of the coin, usually the obverse, to appear off-center while the reverse remains centered. And when the misalignment is severe enough, these coins gain immediate collector attention and can be worth $100 or more depending on grade and severity. And in some cases, a coin with both obverse and reverse misalignments has sold for over $200, making this another critical type of error to look for in your 2005 pennies. And although not technically a minting error, post-mint damage, PMD, is often confused with genuine errors, which is why it's so important to understand what makes a true error coin valuable, because PMD coins, such as those damaged by environmental exposure or machines, generally hold no added value, whereas true mint errors that occurred during production are the ones collectors chase and pay for. And beyond errors, another thing that adds to the value of a 2005 penny is its overall scarcity in high grade, because while billions were minted, few were saved in pristine condition, especially from regular circulation. So when an error coin is found in an MS-65 or better grade, it becomes even more valuable just due to how few others are in that condition. And collectors are constantly searching uncirculated rolls, bank boxes, and mint sets hoping to find these hidden gems. And the internet has made this process even more exciting, as rare 2005 era pennies now show up on platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and other numismatic marketplaces where their value is bid up based on rarity, demand, and visual appeal. And there are even Facebook groups, Reddit threads, and YouTube communities entirely focused on error coin discoveries, which have turned once obscure coins like the 2005 penny into viral sensations that fetch high prices and garner collector hype across the world. And what makes this coin so exciting is not just the variety of errors that exist, but the possibility that you or anyone else could find one in everyday life, in a coin jar, in change from the store, or in a forgotten drawer. And that potential is what drives millions of coin hunters and hobbyists to pay close attention to details that others miss, because if your 2005 penny happens to have one of these rare mint errors, it could be worth not just $1 or $2, but a solid $214 or more, depending on its exact features and condition. So it's worth getting a small scale, a magnifying glass, and comparing your coin to known examples online, and if it looks promising, sending it in for grading or getting an expert opinion can be the next step toward unlocking its true value. And stories continue to surface of people discovering rare and valuable coins in unexpected places, and the 2005 penny is no exception, with several dramatic errors already confirmed and sold at high prices. And as more collectors enter the hobby and competition grows, the value of these error coins is likely to increase, making now a great time to search through your change and see what you can find, because every penny holds potential. Especially